morning. I'm going to call the Board of Supervisors to order. Mr. Hone, may I have a roll call, please?
Supervisor Giomi. Supervisor White. Supervisor Horton. Supervisor Schutte.
Here.
Mayor Bagwell.
Here.
You have your quorum.
Thank you so much. We'll now move to agenda item number 3, which is our invocation. And I saw Pastor Brady come on, get us started this morning.
Let's bow our head and pray. God, we thank you for who you are, your wondrous works, and your amazing ways. Father, we honor you in your sovereign hand and your guidance. Jesus, we love you as our Savior, as the way, the truth, and the life. Holy Spirit, we ask you for guidance and conviction in our daily lives. Lord, I pray for a blessing over this meeting today, Lord. I pray for wisdom and understanding from our supervisors, mayor, and all staff. Lord, that they have a heart and intention for the betterment of our community, Lord, that comes from you as you divinely inspire the headship of every community, Lord. God, I thank you for your ways and your works and your guidance and love over us. I pray for a blessing over this meeting and for it to be a process in which is well done and a blessing to all of us. God, I thank you for who you are and what you do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much. Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Okay, we're on opening public comment, and I have Miss Larson that is signed up. Come on up, Erin.
Thank you, Mayor Bagwell. For the record, Erin Larson. I'm the volunteer coordinator for Carson City Parks, Recreation, and Open Space. And I'm just here to let you guys know that we are doing a volunteer appreciation event this year again. And it'll be this month, October 25th, which is a Saturday, from 3 to 6 p.m. at Silver Saddle Ranch. It's open to anybody who has volunteered with our department before. It's free, it's fun, there's food and games and awards and music, and our rangers are leading some wildlife walks. So it's open to anybody who's volunteered. And if you'd like to attend, just RSVP to my email, which is volunteer@carson.org. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I don't have anyone else that was signed up, but just in case, any other public comment? Okay, then we're going to move along. We're on to agenda item 6A. This is approval of our minutes for September 4th, 2025. Did any member have any corrections or changes? Nope, I'll accept a motion for approval.
I move to approve said minutes as presented.
I have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous. We're now on to our consent agenda. I didn't receive any requests to pull any items for further discussion, so I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda consisting of items 7A, 8A, 9A, 9B, and 9C, all as presented.
I have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous. Thank you. We're now on to agenda item 11A. This is for appointment for 3 members to the Carson City Airport Authority. Let's talk about, this is a board. Generally speaking, we have always just reappointed if we had someone that has been serving and has time left on their number of terms they can do. So the pleasure of the board, would we like to do the reappointment for Harlow? Yes? Curtis, would you like to make that motion?
I move to appoint Harlow Norvell as the citizen-at-large member of the, of the authority with a term ending in October 2029.
I second.
Motion and a second to appoint Harlow Norvell as the citizen-at-large. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect that was unanimous. Thank you so much. Harlow, you're stuck another 4 years, but thank you for your service. I don't want to short you on that. You've just been a great proponent of the airport. So there you go. Thank you so much. Okay, let's then move on. We have, who do we have first? We're going to bring? Do we have David Baird? David's in the room right here. We want to just start with David. And just as a reminder, since we don't have applicants that fit the actual position types, we can appoint any of these into those positions. So I just wanted to remind everyone on the record. Good morning, Mr. Baird. How are you?
Good morning.
Morning. Thank you so much for applying. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have you been through this process before?
No, I have not.
I think so. So what we're going to do is just ask you a question or two. Each of us has that opportunity. Then you can make a closing statement on anything maybe that you want to address that we might not have already picked your brain on.
Right.
And then at the conclusion of the final interviews of everyone, we'll make our decision today for the appointments to the
Right.
positions. So I'm going to start off with, have you been attending the meetings of the authority?
No, I have not. I believe it conflicts with a training class I generally take at the airport,
It conflicts with the training class?
an IMC class for flying safety.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why don't you tell me then what you think the most important activities or actions will be occurring over the next year or two for the airport?
My actions, right now I'm currently with the EAA 403 with Young Eagles primarily. I'm also with the Sheriff's Aero Squadron. And I think the important things at the airport are maintaining it continually to operate safely.
Okay, thank you so very much. Supervisor Giomi.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Beard. Can you give maybe a specific example of a way in which you think the airport authority can be an economic driver for the community?
I think the economic driver would be maintaining access for people. I know we have some people that fly in for government duties. I really do not care to see the airport becoming a commercial airport, kind of general aviation. That just adds confusion, and being an untowered airport, it can create some safety issues.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor White.
Thank you. You've kind of answered my question, but I'll ask it anyway.
Okay.
Do you think it is relevant for the airport authority to try to attract regularly scheduled commercial operators to the Carson City Airport? What do we need to do to make that happen?
Commercial, being a non-tower airport, and I have seen enough close calls at the airport, I think more commercial traffic will become more dangerous, especially without an airport. We have some people that fly in that don't follow the normal procedures. ADSB has helped that considerably, but there are still some traffic out there that does not use ADSB. And so I would not really encourage commercial traffic on a regular basis.
Thank you.
Supervisor Horton.
Good morning.
Morning.
If you had a tower, would you encourage commercial traffic?
Yes and no. The tower would definitely make it much safer. There's times I wish we did have a tower, but I'm also a resident extremely close to the airport. My back fence is airport property, so commercial traffic would become a noise issue. I know there are some issues at the airport with noise abatement the way it is, so that may become more of a factor than traffic.
Thank you.
Supervisor Shooty.
Hello, and thank you for applying.
Thank you.
My question is, what should be considered when making operational decisions?
Obviously, FAA directions or regulations are part of that. but there also needs to be some common courtesy at the airport. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, okay. Mr. Baird, is there anything you want to share with us of why you want to do this?
my main goal is to make sure the airport continues to operate safely and maintains access for general aviation. So,
Thank you again so much for applying. It's very appreciated.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We'll see if Mr. La Rochelle is available. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yep, push it once. There you go.
All right.
I think have you been through this process before of having an
No, I
interview?
have not applied for a position with the city before.
Okay.
But when I read about the opening, I thought that my background is well suited to what you're looking for here.
Okay.
I spent 10 years as a pilot in the Navy, followed by over 30 years of various management positions across the U.S., and finally retiring from AT&T in 2010. I moved here to Carson City in 2019 and have been somewhat active in civic affairs since. You've seen me here before and at other functions. So, question away.
Okay, so that's what we'll do is each of us will ask a question or two, and then upon the completion of our questioning, if there's just any other comments you want to add, you're welcome to, and then we'll continue on with the interviews of the other candidates, and at the end of the final candidate, we'll make our selections.
Very
So,
good.
again, I just want to say thank you in advance. I know it takes a lot to come out on a public setting and be interviewed, so thank you for doing that. So can you tell me, have you been attending meetings of the authority?
No, I have not.
What do you see as the most important activities or actions that the airport will be faced with over the next year?
I believe that the expansion of the runway is a very big factor. The expansion of the facilities, adding new tenants, and really this community needs a viable airport in order to grow properly. And since we're at altitude, 4,800 feet, I know from my aviation experience that there aren't as many lifties at altitude as there are at sea level. So you need a much longer runway. It would be nice if we had a couple thousand feet more, be able to handle at least commuter flights out of here. I think that's a good long-range goal, but making sure that our current facilities are adequate for all of our tenants is a very important aspect of it.
Thank you so much. Supervisor Giomi?
Thank you for applying, sir. Can you provide a specific example of a way in which you feel the airport authority can be, or the airport can be, an economic driver for the community?
Well, we have a number of outfits stationed at other airports like Reno that with an expanded airport here, we could accommodate like the helicopter heavy lift services that are based out of Reno. We're only, 20 miles from there, less? Be nice to house those people. But, and again, expanding the airport to provide enough runway for commuter airlines would be a big boon to the community.
Okay, Supervisor White?
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Mo.
So is it viable for the airport authority to try to attract a regularly scheduled commercial operator? And what needs to happen to attract that sort of an operator?
Well, for one thing, the runway's not big enough right now. You got 5,000 feet. I mean, they can land here, but they can't take off. So, yeah, the runway needs to be expanded in order to accommodate a larger aircraft. Even some of the business aircraft that would prefer to be closer to Carson City, their aircraft can't take off from this runway. It's too short. They can land because you always got reverse thrust, but we need to expand the length of the runway in order to attract more businesses to the area, and as a long range goal, certainly commercial airline service.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ray.
Good morning.
If we had a tower, would you encourage commercial traffic at our airport?
Have a what?
If we had a tower at the airport, would you encourage commercial traffic?
I'm not sure that was a question. What?
Well, my question is, would you encourage commercial air traffic at our airport if we had a control tower?
Well, yeah. I think if we were to expand the airport, getting a FAA control tower would be important, and I think crucial to attracting any commercial airline.
Thank you.
Supervisor Shooty?
Good morning.
Good morning.
What should be considered when making operational decisions?
Well, you need to consider the effect on the public, certainly. Effect on the viability of the airport budget to be able to accommodate whatever changes you're not trying to make. Of course, gathering new tenants will garner more funds. So there's a balancing act, to be sure, in any decision. You know, having held management positions for over 30 years, I'm well aware of budget restrictions and the need to weigh various factors. So there's no magic formula. It takes some analysis and good decision making.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So is there anything else you feel that you'd like to share with us?
I think in my application I stated that I've held a commercial ticket for many years. Not flying right now because of a dispute with Oklahoma City over my medical certificate. Ever since my lung cancer, they've been giving me the old Bob Hoover routine. You know who Bob Hoover was? Bob Hoover was one of the greatest stunt pilots ever in the U.S. And after he turned 70, all of a sudden, the FAA decided he wasn't fit to fly anymore, and wouldn't renew his medical certificate. It was really a shameful episode in the history of the FAA.
Well, then, thank you so much for applying. And again, you're welcome to stay in the audience while we complete the interviews of the other candidates, and then we'll
Okay.
make our selection. Again, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Sutton. Good morning. Just want to start off with thanking you so very much for applying for the position. I know how stressful it is to be interviewed in public, but we really want to thank you and all the candidates for taking that leap and saying, okay, I can do this. So you have not been through this process before for any positions?
Not with the city, no.
So what we're going to do is each of us will ask you a question or two.
Very good.
At the conclusion of that, you're welcome to add any statements of your whys or fill in any blanks that you think we didn't get to in our questioning.
Okay.
And then we have one additional candidate after you to interview, and then this board will make its decision for appointment.
Fabulous.
Okay, so I'm going to start off. Can you tell me, have you been attending any meetings of the authority?
Yes, I have. I've been trying to go to most of them to have an understanding of how the board worked.
Great. Okay, then what do you see over the next year as some of the most important activities or actions the board will be undertaking?
There's a lot of development going on right now, and there's a lot of decisions to be made as far as those developments go. I see a lot of good things that are happening for the airport.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Supervisor Giomi.
Mr. Sutton, thank you. Can you provide a specific example of a way in which the airport can be an economic driver for the community?
Well, the fuel sales are starting to climb, and I see that's a fabulous thing. That means that we've got more traffic coming in and out, bringing people in and out. I see a lot of business jets coming in and out, but I also see a lot of wonderful general aviation going on. That means a lot of commerce regarding maintenance and repair and fuel sales for general aviation as well.
Thank you.
Supervisor White.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
So is it viable for the airport authority to try to attract a regularly scheduled commercial airlines? And what needs to happen to attract that kind of an operator?
I don't think it's a good idea, given our proximity to the airspace for Reno and the amount of traffic in and out. It's possible there may be room for small commuter, but without looking more in depth, I can't give you a more accurate answer than that.
Thank you.
Supervisor Horton.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If we had a control tower at the airport, would you encourage commercial traffic at that point?
I would not be in favor of a control tower or commercial traffic at that point.
Thank you.
Supervisor Schutte.
Thank you for applying. What should be considered when making operational decisions?
First and foremost is safety. We want to make sure that we're looking after everybody on the ground and in the air. And the second thing, operational decisions would be for taking care of our public citizens, making sure that our flights are done in such a way that we have the least impact over populated areas.
Thank you.
Is there anything, what else would you like to share with us about your why the airport?
Yeah, I really want to be able to give back right now. I've retired. We still have some of this motion rolling from having owned a business. And I see a place at the airport that could make use of some of the experience that I've had. And I want to see this airport succeed. It was one of the biggest reasons that we decided that we'd pull up stakes and move to Carson City.
The airport attracted you?
The airport attracted me, and our wonderful city, which just feels like much more friendly than other places I've lived, and has that wonderful small town feel to it.
Well, thank you so very much again for applying. So we have one additional candidate to interview, so you're welcome to remain in the audience if you'd like, because after we talk with Mr. Stewart, we'll make a decision.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again for applying. Good morning, Mr. Stewart. And we just want to start off with thanking you so very much for being willing to apply and come out and be publicly interviewed on camera. So thank you for doing that. We know it's a little bit stressful. What we're going to do is each of us will ask you a question or two, and then you can do any closing remarks about your why or anything that you think we've left off or that you want to talk to us about. And then since you're the last one to be interviewed, we will then be making our decision for the appointments today.
Understood, thanks.
Okay. So have you been attending meetings of the authority?
No, ma'am.
No. What do you think are the most important activities or actions that the board will be faced with over this next year?
I should say I have attended some of the meetings, but not on a regular basis.
That's all right.
And your question was, what do I feel is the most important activities
Over the next year.
over the next year period at the airport? Well, there's, I think, a lot of use going on. There's a lot of growth going on at the airport, as you might know from noise complaints increasing and some additional friction with the community. So I believe that integrating the use of the airport for the pilot community in with the broader community of Carson City in a way that keeps that relationship as healthy as possible in a one-year period is very doable and could be a primary focus and something we could accomplish.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Giomi?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Can you provide a specific example of a way in which the airport can be an economic driver for the community?
Absolutely. The airport would benefit greatly from more operations at the airport. So there's a lighting system that's going in that's changing the ability to fly in there at night for some light jet operators, and that would boost businesses at the airport, such as Stellar Aviation's interest there with CTE's investments that they've made. It would also boost Mountain West's interest there and be an economic driver in the form of jobs, as well as federal funding. Obviously, nothing is easy, so there needs to be, like I said earlier, some work done on how to make sure that we don't annoy everyone who lives near the airport as we increase those operations. But working with Corey and his office, who's the airport manager, I feel like everyone knows that, but maybe someone behind me doesn't know who I'm referring to help give input on noise abatement procedures, as well as the fact that we at High Sierra Pilots are responsible for a large amount of the operations at Carson to integrate as we grow and make room for different types of aeronautical activities that can bring federal dollars, more development of hangars, all of the lovely, juicy bits that go into an airport.
Can I get clarification from you? On your application, you said that you're the accountable manager for the certified repair station. What is an accountable manager?
So the accountable so what a 145 certificate is it's a maintenance repair operation that's under a federal program. So the shop that I own and am the accountable manager for, which is an FAA distinct position up there, is under a federal certificate, if that answers your question.
No, I understand. I
It basically
understand
means I get in trouble no
I got
matter
it.
what anyone
Correct.
does with the FAA.
Now I understand. Thank you.
You're the top dog.
Yeah.
It's you. Okay. Supervisor White?
Thank you. Good morning. Is it viable for the airport authority to attract regularly scheduled commercial flights? And what needs to happen to attract a commercial operator?
When I hear commercial operator, I think of Part 135 charter. We can scale that up to 121, but there are other types of commercial activities as well, such as air med, fire, operations that can base and train. Are you referring to all of these, or are you referring to more the colloquial term of like passenger operations?
Commercial?
Commercial?
What's the
Okay.
definition?
Well, I believe the airport is moving in the right direction. We need to be able to have operators need to come and go at night. They need to be able to come and go in weather. So lighting systems, runway extensions need to be improved at the airport. I think we're already in process of doing that, if I understand some of the initiatives that the city has already put in place at the airport. Other than that, there needs to be critical services. So operators won't want to operate into an airport where there's no fuel, for instance, no maintenance on those types of aircraft that they operate, which would be turboprop, turbofan, and larger piston-driven aircraft. So those are kind of the key critical services that have to exist. And then you need infrastructure such as ramp space that those aircraft can park overnight or for long term. They can facilitate those operators' needs. Once we get that all locked down at Carson, it's a natural thing for people to go there instead of some of the surrounding airports. As Reno is busy with and getting bigger with passenger operations, these Reno, Stead, and Carson will be the natural satellites that people go to.
Supervisor
Thank you.
Horton.
Good morning. If we had a control tower, would you encourage more commercial traffic?
If we had a control tower, I would thank the stars, the moon, the sky, encourage anything I could to get that control tower. I've been based at airports before and after control towers came in. I've heard the complaints before from the pilots who were there going, we don't like control. But really what I've witnessed is within a short 90-day window, the chaos calms down. Everything gets safer, more elevated. It becomes, the noise complaints start to go away because there's a controlling, a control tower saying, turn here, do this, don't do that. And everyone will absolutely love it. Yes, if we got a control tower, I think it would naturally encourage more traffic to come into Carson, specifically Mr. White's type of traffic that he was asking about, which is commercial.
Thank you.
Supervisor Schutte.
Thank you for applying. What should be considered when making operational decisions?
Can you help me narrow down what you mean by operational decisions?
Well, when the overall, how you want the airport to operate, what comes to mind? What do you envision?
Well, for me, I run, two businesses at the airport. I run the MRO, the maintenance operation, and I also run a flying club of over 250 pilots with 20 aircraft. And my personal interest on what makes an airport great operationally is where entities like mine don't crowd out the other activities that you can see at an airport, specifically like community engagement, such as the Big Tires show that we had at the airport that Corey and the city put together over there, and seeing a bunch of people come out from the community and interact with it. It's a little inconvenient for businesses like mine, but I believe it's crucial to the success and health of an airport. I am an airport nerd, obviously. I own way too many airplanes, and it's more of an addiction and a problem than it probably somebody should have told me in the first place. So I love to see varying types of activities at the airport. I like to see the people who operate there who might see their interests cross, get along, and be friendly and help promote the health of all the other businesses at the airport. I love when an airport can get like a cafe or a restaurant because community members are there all the time. I've seen when you bring people from outside the fence, I'll call it, inside the airport to catch a little bit of that passion, then I think the airport becomes a very pleasant place for me personally to be. So anytime I would give advice on the operational interests of the airport, it would be driven by community, the economic health of the airport, and of course, the level of safety that's required for that airport to keep operating. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Okay, so then I think you've already answered the why you want to do this. I heard the nerd statement. But is there anything else you want to share with us about why you'd like this position or just other information?
Just full transparency, I didn't initially decide to volunteer for the position. I had Tim Pewlitz, Michael Golden, and several other members of the community urge me to apply for it to the point where I gave it serious consideration, and they were very persuasive. So unfortunately, I don't think I have a great answer for you, Madam Mayor, other than I do think as a big user of the airport that I have a responsibility to put forward what I can to help keep the airport great. And I live in Carson City. I was actually raised out here, and I love this city, and I really love our airport, so I should do something if I can.
Thank you so very much. Okay, so now we have to bring it up here and make some tough decisions. We had certainly great candidates today. I think any of them could serve us well in the community. Let's see if we have the preference for the other two. And again, none of them, unless I'm reading something wrong, right? Fit the, except for, is Brian a fixed base operator? Yes, so, and James, but Mr. Baird, Mr. La Rochelle, and Mr. Sutton or Mr. Stewart could fill the manufacturing position because we did not have a manufacturer. I'm just double checking that none of you were a manufacturer and we didn't get something wrong when we looked over your applications. Okay.
Quick question. So just to confirm, those who applied, whether it's citizens at large or fixed-based operator, could be eligible for manufacturing?
The
since we
fixed-based
did not-
operator, we need to select either Mr. Sutton or Mr.
Correct.
Stewart because they fit that role. The remaining three can then be considered for the manufacturer.
Anyone who wasn't chosen.
Right.
Correct. Thank you.
Right. Okay, so, again, does Curtis want to go first? Because he serves on the airport board, so.
Sure, I'll go first. I can tell you that Mr. Sutton is very dedicated and has appeared at almost every meeting that we've had and is very involved in the operations of the airport. And I really feel like he would be an excellent choice in this position. And I also believe that Mr. Baird is deeply involved in the airport. I know he is, and I know his passion runs deep and lives nearby and is very involved in what we do, especially the Young Eagles program and things like that. And I think they would both serve the organization well. Mr. Stewart's very capable, very competent, and I'm certain that he would do well also. But I would lean toward Mr. Baird and Mr. Sutton at this point.
Okay,
The other candidates were excellent as well. It's just, those are my feelings toward it, having been involved with these gentlemen. So that's where I'm at.
okay, Supervisor Giomi?
I'm impressed by all of you, that are pilots and have chosen to, operate here in Carson. And so kudos to you for applying. It's difficult to put yourself out there to do these things. I appreciate that very much. Mr. Sutton has attended meetings. I think that gives him really good background. I think it's important, if you're going to be on a board, to have spent some time understanding what that board does. So I would vote for Mr. Sutton for a citizen's position. For the FBO, I think, in the almost 7 years I've sat on this board, I believe Mr. Stewart has given one of the best interviews that we've seen for any position in the time I've been here. Certainly one of the top 5. That's well thought out. He seems dedicated to the airport, dedicated to the community. I love that he said to keep the airport great. I think that speaks volumes to the work that Corey and the rest of you have done to get the airport to where it is. So my vote for the FBO would be for Mr. Stewart.
Okay, I'm going to agree with Supervisor Giomi, but I want you to know I take Mr. Horton's thoughts seriously too, because he serves in the role. So it makes it really difficult. But I think that, so it looks like we already have Mr. Sutton figured out because that's 3 of us, but so the other 2 don't count, We have this little joke around here, whoever speaks first, right? But I think that Mr. Stewart displayed excellent responses to the questions, and that truly being on the airport with the 2 businesses has quite the understanding in depth. And I also take the fact that you're telling me other members of the board recommended you, and one that's leaving, if I heard that, that also speaks volumes to me, because I think that they would only recommend people that they think are going to carry on and hold, because they served for many, many years and they want to see progress at the airport. So that weighs a lot for me too. So I like Mr. Sutton and Mr. Stewart. Ms. Schutte?
Thank you all for applying, and it really, it's wonderful when we have such great and qualified applicants. It is tough. I agree with what has been said. Mr. Baird, I so appreciate what you said, just the detail of Mr. Stewart's responses was allowed me to delve in a little bit more to what he could bring to the board. So I agree with Mr. Stewart and Mr. Sutton, but I really am grateful for your involvement with our community and with what you have to bring.
You're up, Mr. White.
Perfect.
Supervisor White.
While I certainly will not oppose what is apparently the Stewart-Sutton ticket, I do want to say, though, that my opinion that our airport is the missing link to future viability of this community. And the part of the airport that is missing is the commercial aspect. I have said for many years that is a vital part of this airport that needs a substantial upgrade. I personally know 2 people that do not bring their large corporate jets to this town. When they visit Carson City, they land in Reno because that commercial aspect is not here. And for that vision, Mr. La Rochelle and Mr. Stewart demonstrated they understand that. I'm just telling the rest of the world right now, this airport needs to stand up for commercial activities. But again, it's pretty obvious that Mr. Stewart and Mr. Sutton are where we're going, and I do not object to that.
Thank you. Okay. Supervisor Giomi, did you want to make the motion?
Sure. I move to appoint James Sutton as the manufacturer member of the Airport Authority with a term ending in October of 2029. And I move to appoint Brian Stewart as the fixed-based operator member of the authority with a term ending in October of 2029.
I second.
I have a motion and a second for Mr. Stewart for the manufacturer position. Mr. Sutton and Mr. Stewart for the fixed space operator. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous. And I will just state for the record that I enjoyed something that each of you talked about, that it is a balancing act on anything that we're doing, that how do we grow the airport to be all that it can be while we maintain and not disrupt the neighborhoods. And so it's a difficult balancing act, and I just don't want it to be lost on the community that we don't recognize that as a component piece to everything that we're doing. Because I certainly agree with Supervisor White that what can we do to expand and what's the missing link that we need for our airport, but you want to make sure you're not bringing in airlines or activities that are so noisy at 10 o'clock at night or something of that nature, right? So how do we work? And I challenge you as the board and the new members to always work towards a common goal, right? How do you do both? And if y'all figure that out, maybe you could let us know, because it doesn't always work. But again, thank you for applying. I could have had any one of you on the board. So thank you and good luck. Okay. All right, we are going to move on to agenda item 12A, which is our discussion and possible action regarding Carson City's CDBG 24-25 draft consolidated annual performance and evaluation. Ms. Banaboo.
Good morning. First, I want to take the opportunity to introduce our new grants coordinator, Yesenia Pacheco.
Good morning.
Very excited to have her on board. I did complete the CAPER though, so I will be speaking today. This is basically a wrap-up of our 24-25 CDBG program, just detailing out what we accomplished. And we did put this out for a 15-day comment period and September 10th. And so that comment period is over and we received no comments. Today is another day that the public can comment, or if you have any changes, let me know and we can make those changes before it's submitted.
Did any members have a question or thought? Nope. Not seeing any. Okay, I'll open up. Is there any, just in case there was any public comment on this item? No. Okay, I'll bring it back up here then for a motion. And by the way, welcome. Supervisor Schutte,
Well, I am just,
recommending approval of the submission.
well, I am recommending approval. I just have a quick question regarding
okay.
the late material. Is that on this one? From St. Vincent de Paul? Okay, I was just,
That's not CDBG, right? That's okay.
okay, then.
You got it?
Oh,
You- you want
no,
me to
go
do it?
ahead. I'm still working on this computer.
I move to approve the
Apologies.
consolidated annual performance evaluation report as presented.
I second.
I have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous.
And
Thank you.
apologies.
No, that's all right.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
She's test piloting something. It's like, we'll get there. Okay, we're now gonna
You're not
move.
making me feel good about the,
Yeah,
about the,
that's 2 for 2, but
Full
that's
paper.
okay. That's all right. We're going to move on to
Understood.
agenda item 13A. And this is the application from DR Horton for a tentative subdivision map. And this we're going to have not Miss Manzo. How about Miss Ferris? I just looked up, but that's the wrong Heather. It is a Heather, but the wrong one. Okay.
Thank you, Heather Ferris, for the record.
And we
So-
do have late material on this one, right?
Yeah, we do have late material.
Make sure.
The subject property is 6.2 acres in size and is located at the southeast corner of Silver Oak Drive and GS Richards Boulevard. The property is located in the Silver Oak Planned Unit Development and is zoned retail commercial. The applicant is seeking approval of a tentative subdivision map to subdivide the 6.2 acres into 92 lots for townhome development, as well as the required open space, and they'll have 2 points of access onto GS Richards. Commercially zoned parcels within the Silver Oak PUD are limited to those uses outlined in the zoning code. Per the municipal code, a residential use is a conditional use in the RC zoning district and therefore requires a special use permit, subject to the supplemental standards outlined in Division 1.18 of the development standards. There's no maximum density within the non-residential zoning district, subject to meeting the height, parking, and open space requirements. The overall design concept is single-family attached or houses with a lot size of 1,224 square feet and a density of 14.84 units per acre. Internal setbacks are 0 between lots, and peripheral setbacks will be 7.5 feet on the north side, 146 feet on the south, 20 feet on the east, and 11 feet on the west. Each unit will be 2-story, 29 feet tall, and will range in size from 1,347 square feet to 1,409 square feet. Each unit will have a 2-car garage, which will provide for parking for each unit, and additional guest parking will be provided throughout the development as well as on one side of GS Richards. Approximately 59,000 square feet of open space will be provided, exceeding the required 23,000. Open space will be a combination of private and common open space, which is consistent with the requirements of the development standards. At the August 27th meeting, the Planning Commission approved the special use permit for the residential use in a non-residential zoning district. And since the Planning Commission has the authority to approve the special use permit, that is not before you today. At the same meeting, the Planning Commission also recommended approval of the tentative subdivision map and is recommending approval of that map to the board, subject to the conditions of approval, which are included in the memo from staff, which starts on page 115 of your packet. Staff has also provided you with late material outlining a couple of modifications to the conditions of approval. So staff is recommending a modification to condition 26, striking the first bullet as the project does not include dedications of any right-of-way. The interior roads will meet the requirements. However, since there's no dedications, there's no need for this bullet. Additionally, it is a requirement of the code.
Restate that. So you're saying the interior widths will meet fire code requirements?
Yes,
For access?
that is correct.
Okay.
Yes,
So we're not losing that by taking this out?
that's correct. We're not. Additionally, earlier this week, it was brought to our attention that the conceptual landscape plans indicate the use of fractured rock and decomposed granite, as well as some comments about turf grass. Since the function of all of those materials varies widely, staff is recommending an additional condition of approval. It would be condition 28, as shown here. And it would read, the applicant shall submit a landscape and irrigation plan with the application for site improvement permit. The plan shall demonstrate compliance with Division 3 of CCDS and demonstrate the use of a walkable surface, for example, turf, decomposed granite, or similar, in the designated amenity area and private open space areas. Materials that prohibit safe walking within these areas will be prohibited. With that, I'm available for questions. Stacy Huggins with Wood Rogers is also here and may wish to address the board.
So if I can have the applicant come forward, because we are proposing in late material to amend your conditions. Is the applicant willing to sign with the changes that have been recommended?
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Board of Supervisors. Stacy Huggins for the record with Wood Rogers. We are in agreement with the modified and the new condition as proposed.
Okay. Supervisor Giomi.
Heather, can you go back a couple of pictures? Sorry, maybe there. That's a good one. I had one of the comments about the vagueness in my mind, and I'm going to step up on a little soapbox for a minute. The concern I have with any development, because frankly, we've been burned with some developments in the past showing pictures of A and actually doing B. And I think it does a disservice to the community and the future residents that continues today. So my comment is, when you look at this picture, the average person is not going to read the 8-point font on the bottom of a note that says, and it isn't really going to look like this. So I think it's really incumbent upon staff, and I'm not trying to lecture, I'm just asking for your help in making sure that the things that are put out there are representative of what's going to happen. And that was my reason behind asking about this. So the private open space, I'm less concerned about, because what people have in their backyard is their right and can be changed over time. But the common open space here pretty clearly reflects, in my mind, what looks like grass.
Right.
Now, if it's not going to be grass, this picture should not look like it's grass. That's what I'm getting at. So I would like to hear what, from someone who has a fantastic name, by the way. Just want to compliment you on that. I have no idea if you spell it correctly or not, but I just wanted to. So what is your intent? You know, if you were to redepict this picture, what would it look like?
I'll take a stab at that.
Yeah, I was asking you.
Okay,
this.
I just wanted to make sure. Supervisor Giomi, again, Stacy Huggins for the record. It is not intended to be all turf. We use colors to depict the difference,
Understood.
right, between
Get it.
public space
I get
and
it.
private space. But I think the area in green on the very south end is an amenity area intended to be primarily turf area with some walking paths that would likely include rock that's not at the small DG level, but a little bit bigger. And I actually have a photo of what DR Horton would be using, and I apologize, I don't have it in an overhead, but I'm happy to like share this with you if you think it's helpful to see what they intend to do in terms of their walking paths in those areas. It is not intended to be large rock that someone couldn't walk on in those common public open space areas. They understand the concern with, and they want people to be able to walk around in this community. So they're not looking at putting large rock that's not accessible to an average pedestrian.
Okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate the answer, and I just wanted to get that on the record, that it will be usable space and not massive fractured rock boulders that are not going to be something that someone can't walk on or use or have as an amenity.
Yes, it will
Okay.
not be that.
I think certainly not DR Horton. I'm not accusing you of doing this, but there are other developers in town who pulled what I would term a bait and switch, and I really am encouraging staff to do everything you can, imploring you to do everything you can to please make sure what is presented as factual actually ends up in a form that we approve and can hold them to. And, you know, I think there's, this community back in the 90s made a very big statement about open space and the importance of it to the point of taxing ourselves. And I think even with detention ponds, we have developers who will build a detention pond and turf it, still accomplishes the same thing, and it's usable public space. And then we have developers who build a detention pond and fill it with rock that people can't get into without fracturing an ankle. And I think this community deserves the former as opposed to the latter. And if we're not going to have that in an ordinance somewhere, which I would encourage, I would really implore you as staff to make sure you push people in that direction. Because I will not approve things that are not usable in a common open space environment. So I'll step off my little soapbox and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Supervisor Horton.
Well, I want to second what Supervisor Giomi said, but for the record, I just wanted to comment that, you know, it's great that we have these kinds of developments coming in and we have housing and all that. People have children who like to play in the grass, walk in the grass, lay in the grass, read a book. You know, the world hasn't changed that much. It's still nice to have those areas available that are inviting, you know, and safe and comfortable for people, rather than the desert landscape that we see everywhere, which is not usable for much of anything. So just for the record.
Thank you.
Supervisor White.
Thank you. I have a number of questions for the developer. I'm fairly confused as to how wide the interior streets and alleys will be in this project. I see different places where different widths are called out. For instance, on pages 22 and 33, three different places call the driveways 28 feet, the street 26 feet, and the alleys 24 feet. But if you go to page 48, I'm referring to the page numbers of the Planning Commission packet. On page 48, there's a map there that calls out the driveway is 29 feet, the streets are 26 and a half or 27 feet, and alleys are 25 feet. And then on that same map, when you look at the details, A, B, and C, there's a different width. So further confusing the situation, so the question is, how wide are the streets? But further confusing the situation, on page 22 and page 33 of the Planning Commission packet, it specifically states that the streets are measured from the face of the curb. But on page 48, that map says the streets are measured to the back of the curb. How wide are the streets? What are we doing here?
Oh, thank you. Supervisor White, I apologize. I'm just trying to make sure I have the maps in front of me, and I apologize, I don't have the document that you're specifically referencing in terms of the staff report.
Once
packet.
again, our packet directs us to the Planning Commission packet, and people in this room are not prepared. Once again,
So what I can tell you, again, Stacy Huggins for the record with Wood Rogers, the main north-south road, as shown on the plan on the screen, is 27 feet from back of curb to back of curb. So from the edge of the driveway to the measuring to the east, if you will, to the curb on the other side of the road is 27 feet wide on the main road. The alleyways, those private alleyways that access the units extending to the east off of the main road is 27 feet from back of curb to back of curb.
okay?
Right, Megan? Sorry, I'm double checking with our engineer. Yeah. Okay, yes, that's correct.
So when the fire department makes their comment that the street must be 26 feet wide, where's fire department measuring from?
This is Megan Solzich for the record. The fire department measures it from face of curb to face of curb. So the minimum width between top of curb to face of curb is 1/2 foot. So we actually have that 26 feet of width if you're measuring face of curb to face of curb.
Okay.
Can I ask one, do you mind if I ask a
Yeah, go
clarifying
ahead.
question? You said when you were referring to the east-west running alleyways as private, to be fair, all of these are private, correct? You were making a distinction that it was private,
Commissioner Giammi,
implying-
yes, you are correct. They are all private roads.
And so you're saying the east-west are nearly the same width as the north-south? And it's just an oddity of this map that it doesn't look that way?
No,
Smaller.
they're not.
I mean, they're
In
close,
fact, the
but
north-south road at one spot is 27.5 feet, and at another spot, it's 26 feet. So
These
Um,
narrower.
I don't know that we know how wide these roads are going to be.
Okay. You want to say that?
To answer your question on the tentative map, they are shown as being narrower, but we worked with Stephen Pote from Carson City and found out a way to widen those so they will be the same width as the north-south street.
Okay. On page 17 of the Planning Commission packet at number 5, there's a comment there about measuring from the grade plane in relation to the highest roof surface. Can someone tell me what the grade plane is?
It's essentially the highest adjacent grade.
Say again?
It's essentially the highest adjacent grade to the building.
So like from the middle of the street or from the bottom of the foundation?
Bottom of foundation.
Okay.
It's adjacent to the building itself.
So, okay. On this map on page 48, I don't see anywhere that tells me how long those alleyways are. But if you look at the scale bar, seems to me that that scale bar is telling us those alleyways are 160 feet deep. Are those alleys 160 feet deep?
Supervisor White, my understanding is those alleys could not exceed 150 feet in depth to make sure they met the fire requirements.
I'm aware of that. The scale bar laid up against those alleys tells me they're 160 feet deep.
They will not be able to be 160 feet deep when this project goes through its final design.
Okay?
Again, I apologize. I don't have a scale in front of me to measure off the plans right now, but I can assure you we will have to meet the fire code, and we know that.
So let's talk about the south end of that north-south road where the curve is, goes around the corner to the parking. Certainly, from that last alleyway to the end of that portion of the road is substantially more than 150 feet. Where's the 90-foot radius turnaround for the fire truck?
Do you have one? Yep. Oh, actually, Heather, I'm going to have an answer for you if you'll just give me 1 second.
Okay.
Do you have my presentation? Would you mind pulling up my presentation? I think that will help. And I'm actually looking for the waste management exhibit.
This was for garbage truck too.
So Supervisor White, this exhibit I'm going to show you is not specific to fire, but it is the same exhibit that we looked at to make sure that a fire truck could circulate through this site. So this is for waste management. We did some initial work with waste management on this project, and the waste management truck is the same size as a fire truck that would respond here. And so this circulation plan shows, and again, was used for fire to show that a fire truck could circulate through this site the same way that a waste management truck would, and it would meet fire's requirements. So I hope that this will help you see that a fire truck can get around that corner to serve fire on that very south building.
Yeah, a fire truck can pull in there. Frankly, I've never seen a waste management truck as big as our fire trucks, but nonetheless, our code requires a 90-foot radius turnaround if the street's longer than 150 feet. I don't see that indicated here for the fire truck.
Will fire truck come in here and go out?
We would need to do some kind of a hammerhead.
We could, if the fire department were to requirement or staff found that we were not meeting the code requirements, we could look at taking the area on the curve that's currently identified as open space and making that some type of paved area to serve as a hammerhead so that the trucks could have adequate room to get in and out of there.
Okay. Speaking of waste management, outside of trash pickup day, where will the garbage cans be stored?
Each unit will have its own bin. They will have to store them inside of their garage.
But there's a requirement that says the garage is for parking only, not for storage.
When we reference storage in that case, it's other items. The intent is to have the garage serve for parking. There will be room to store a trash bin within that garage area. The goal is to not have people using their garage as a storage facility as opposed to a parking space.
Okay. We'll move on to traffic impact. Where's section 4 that has all the reports that we can look at, most specifically the traffic impact study? I don't know how we make a decision if we don't have that information.
Heather Ferris, for the record. Section 4 included all of the all of the technical studies. We've been directed to not include those in packets due to the size of packets. They are available to the public or the board upon request, but we have been instructed not to include those in the packets.
Madam Mayor, if I may just
You may.
expand on that. In discussing it with the Planning Commission, what was happening for a period of time was we were providing every single technical report to the Planning Commission. This is in general, not specific to this project. The Planning Commission said, we don't need to read all these technical reports. We don't need to read a stormwater analysis, and we don't need to read a traffic analysis. You technical people, you read those reports, and you tell us what we need to know. If you need to give us a executive summary, that's fine. But that decision was made a number of months ago when the Planning Commission said they did not need to see those technical reports. And so what the staff does is they extract information from those reports, and we rely on our public works folks and our transportation folks to analyze those and speak to them in the context of the findings.
Thank you. So, in context to the findings, I see that in the narrative throughout this Planning Commission packet, the traffic impact study says there will be 651 trips per day from this specific development. That's 7 trips per day per unit that on average has 2.3 people. How did you come to this conclusion? See, I could answer that, I could get that answer if the report was here. So tell me how you came up with 651 trips a day out of this study, impact study.
Supervisor White, I'm not a traffic engineer, but I will refer to our traffic study. Our traffic engineers do physical counts, and they have a program that, based on the counts, tells them, based on the number of units proposed, what an average daily trip might look like at maximum build out. It's a system that's used commonly for development projects. I could get into the weeds about how they calculated and how those numbers were generated if you would like me to. I would have to refer directly to this study, but I'm more than happy to get into that detail if you really want to understand how the program analyzed those numbers.
I just don't, I don't see how you get to 7 trips a day. At any rate, you have 42 peak AM trips and 51 peak PM trips. When you run that number out, that leaves, what you're telling me is at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're gonna have 25 trips an hour on Garth Richards Boulevard. So I'm just really curious how this traffic impact study was done. Moving on from that, page 23 and page 33 tell us that the level of service for the intersection of GSR Boulevard and North Carson Street is already unacceptable. I do understand there will be a deposit made in a fund to upgrade that particular intersection, but my question is, how do you justify further development into an intersection that is already below an acceptable level of service?
Again, Supervisor White, Stacy Huggins for the record. Level of service is a term, and the letter F is a letter in a long line of letters. Traffic analysis or traffic engineers have long told me that the letter F doesn't mean fail, the same as your child bringing home a failing grade would say. It happens to be the same letter, but it does not necessarily mean that the intersection cannot accommodate additional trips or be improved to accommodate additional trips in the future. So while it is identified as a level of service F, it does not mean that it cannot accommodate additional traffic or that the signal couldn't help mitigate that. It does mean that someone may have to sit at a signal for 4 seconds longer than they have to sit today with new development, but it doesn't mean that development shouldn't happen based on our traffic engineers' analysis. Maybe Stephen Pote can add to that from the city's perspective.
So again, on page 23 and 33, the text tells us that the level of service is unacceptable, regardless of the letter. So I suppose my question is this: other projects that have needed infrastructure downstream with vacancies in between, that have been made impacts and required to do upgrades, have made those upgrades, and then projects that come along later that tie into that infrastructure are required to pay their fair share when they develop. Why are we not doing that here? Why are we not making sure that this intersection is up to an acceptable level of service?
Stephen Pote, Development Engineering for the record. So there's a couple things going on with this intersection in particular, but speaking in generalities, when an intersection is failing, it doesn't always necessarily mean that mitigation is warranted. So for instance, the board has seen other subdivisions where there's a failing intersection and it's required to provide a pro rata share, and that's because warrants for a traffic signal, for instance, haven't been met. That's a national standard. With this intersection in particular, the city isn't sure if a traffic signal will be the ultimate solution or some other traffic, not calming, but some other infrastructure to control the movements. The city is doing a study of this entire corridor, and so this intersection is part of that. To add another layer to the conversation, Silver Oak overall, the 1994 approval looked at this intersection and talked about how there needed to be, I think at that point they anticipated a traffic signal. They also are anticipating a casino, which didn't happen, so there's kind of some ambiguity there. But so to help with the illustration, if you have just a driveway for a single family home, for instance, and you analyzed it as if it were a street coming onto another really busy arterial, it would have a failing level of service, but it wouldn't make sense to do it for the volume. So that's part of the analysis, is looking at how much volume is coming onto that street. And at this point, it's looking like, yes, there's enough volume that we do need to do something. It's just a question of what.
So the short answer is, yes, we know it's an unacceptable level of service, but don't worry about it, we'll fix it later.
So, yes, I can't answer off the top of my head if we've already done a warrant analysis at this location. There's been a couple of projects in this area. So I'm sorry, I can't speak to that right now on the record, but I know that it has been looked at and that we are studying it in the short term to decide what's going there.
Okay. Moving on then, on page 38 at letter C, it makes the statement, the applicant has provided evidence that the property is not commercially viable, but I don't see any evidence provided in the packet. Can you enlighten me why this property is not commercially viable?
Supervisor White, Stacy Huggins, again for the record. This particular piece of property, it has been identified for commercial development as part of the Silver Oak project for, 30 years. It has not had an interest for commercial development in all of that time. 5 years ago, I brought forward an apartment project that was approved on this site, and they were not able to build it. It has not happened. Even in that time, commercial development has not had an interest in building on this parcel. So maybe there's some viability for commercial use on it, but in 30 years of it being zoned for commercial use and identified for commercial use, there has not been an interest in developing it as commercial. D.R. Horton has identified this parcel as an opportunity to bring smaller, entry-level, more affordable housing to Carson City that is near existing businesses, for example, the hospital, that can use housing close by and can serve as an opportunity for closer, less traffic, easier pedestrian access to those areas.
Certainly understand the opportunity, but there's a substantial difference between viable and interest. I don't see how you make that finding. On page 14, at number 8, the 5th bullet concerning open space, it states there that it is unclear how the project complied with the open space requirements. Can you make that clear? How are you complying with the open space requirements?
See if I can go back. Sorry, I'm trying to find the open space. Maybe I don't have that map in here. Heather had it earlier. Nope, I don't have it. Well, that's fine. Sorry. I believe that the way we've designed this project, with the mix of private open space and public open space, that we do meet the requirements for public and private open space. The amenity space at the end is open to the public if they would want to go there. There are open space areas and common areas around the perimeter of the site, as well as in between the buildings. Each of the units has a private open space area. I believe the calculation was 250 square feet per unit. Each one of these units has their own private backyard that meets that requirement. So I believe that we have met that finding. I have the Planning Commission staff report. I don't know which page number you were referencing because I was looking for the bullet at the same time. But I feel confident in saying that we designed this project to meet code.
How do we ensure that when the project's done, you have met code?
I believe that staff will review the plans to make sure that we are meeting code and that we are consistent with what we have proposed in this project.
We do have, this is Heather Ferris for the record, we do have a condition of approval tied to the special use permit that requires the applicant to provide an updated exhibit, open space exhibit with the site improvement permit. Additionally, I believe Supervisor White, you were referencing earlier the comments that came as a result of the conceptual map review that we had with the applicant prior to their submittal of the tentative subdivision map application. So staff's analysis of the open space is actually found within the staff report on page 7 of the staff report, where we analyze the specifics of the requirement. They are required to provide 23,000 square feet of open space. The proposal includes 14,298 square feet of private open space and 44,725 square feet of common open space. So they are providing right around 59,000 square feet.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, just from a procedural due process perspective, I just want to make sure the record's really clear. And Supervisor White was asking about the viability of the site for commercial uses. That's addressed on page 19 of the applicant's packet that they submitted. And you'll see what they did, well, what the code says. I want to talk about the code. I don't want to talk about this project because I'm going to let Heather do that. But what the code says is when you consider residential use in a non-residential zoning district, you have to make 2 of 4 findings. And what the applicant's done on page 19 is identified all 4 of those findings and addressed all 4 of those findings. They actually did, no applicant who's seeking a residential use in non-residential zoning district has that responsibility. The responsibility, and it's up to the finders of fact, which this is in the case of the special use permit, the finders of fact was the Planning Commission. They need to agree that 2 of these 4 findings can be met. So the viability for commercial use is one of those 4 findings. It just so happens on page 19, the applicant chose to address all of them. Frequently, our applicants don't. They just say, I'm going to pick the 2 that I can make, and I'm not going to address the other 2. The Planning Commission was able to make 2 of those findings. And as Heather mentioned, the second comment about the lack of clarity on the open space requirements appears in the letter that was produced on June 6, 2025 in response to a conceptual map meeting. The conceptual map meeting is the absolute first meeting the applicant has before they decide whether or not to pursue a project. So kudos for catching that, but it was a really early comment and saying to the applicant, by the way, I'm not really sure how you're complying with this, so you better figure it out when you come in with the real application. So I just wanted to put that on the record because that's going to happen every time we have a conceptual map application. We're going to make a lot of comments that hopefully are addressed before it gets before any public body. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's it for now.
Supervisor Shooty.
Stephen, can you speak to what level of service means?
Stephen, for the record. So yes, a level of service is, it's an amount of time that the average car waits at an intersection. So for a stop-controlled intersection like this one, there's an A, B, C, D, E, F, depending on how many seconds a car is waiting. And there's also different levels for a traffic signal. So that's essentially what that means. I don't know the ranges off the top of my head, but that's what it means. It's just how long a car's waiting.
So it's wait time per se, it's not service in general.
Yes and no, because once a car waits beyond a certain amount of time, drivers start getting frustrated, start doing less predictable movements, et cetera. So you do want to keep it within that acceptable level of service.
Okay. And to get it into an acceptable level of service, that is being studied currently.
Correct. And I was thinking about after my conversation with Supervisor White, to add a little more clarity there, typically we would be conditioning a mitigation at this point. But since the city is looking at doing a corridor project, we felt that it was not prudent to marry ourselves to a specific mitigation now, not knowing whether or not that would fit the ultimate design of that corridor. So we do want it to fit with what we're doing, what we're proposing along the entire corridor. So that's the study I referenced. Is it's not just looking at this intersection. It's looking at the whole corridor as part of a larger project. And so the funds being collected will go into that specific mitigation, which is going to be part of a larger project.
Thank you. When traffic studies take place, is walkability and rideability and location to services within a walkable distance, is that taken into consideration?
It typically is taken into consideration, although the standards are a little more ambiguous. There's less hard and fast rules. Another thing that staff do is we look at the surrounding environment. For instance, if it's near a school, that's definitely something that raises red flags, and we look at that as a very critical feature.
Thank you.
So, Stephen, for the calculation for their share of potential mitigation, I see on there, it was calculated at the highest level of potential, which is a stoplight. That's our most expensive mitigation. And so they are signing up for the stoplight mitigation. And what is that fee that they're going to have to deposit?
It's just under 80,000.
I want it on the
It's-
record and that.
75,200 is the not to exceed number. And that's
And
correct.
so-
The traffic signal's the most likely most expensive mitigation that could go there.
So similar, so it's an interesting thing because I heard Supervisor White say, we usually do the mitigation first and then they get paid back. But indeed, we have the exact same example of doing this when we did the South Corridor with the Appian Way. We collected from everyone else. So the mitigation was not completed first. And we're just now getting ready to implement the Appian Way three-legged stoplight. And we, in RTC that Lisa and I serve on, we're continually getting our report that shows the developer, we call them developer contributions on our report. So I just want to indicate this is the same thing that we did on that end. So I really appreciate that you brought up the North Corridor. So when we know we're going to do our own project through an area, one of the things that Carson City, I think, does really well is you don't want to put something in and then tear it up. That makes zero sense. So I do appreciate that they'll have to deposit the money in for your share of a stoplight. And then when we do this full study that we're embarking on right now for the North Corridor, it will incorporate this to do the very thing that we're looking to do, which is to mitigate that intersection. And I just want to make sure I'm correct that, right? And so we do have precedence on how we do it when we have a city project that's passing through that very same area. So I think that's what the difference is to saying you'll solve it now, but the city already has a potential plan we're looking at. So I think that's the difference in my mind is to when I just collect a developer fee or when we have them do the upgrade and get reimbursed by others. I think, does that make sense?
Yeah, that all sounds correct.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, is anybody else? I don't see any other questions. We will go to, is there any public comment on this item? Okay, I don't see anything. I'll bring it back up here. Supervisor Giomi, did you want to try a motion?
Yep, I move to approve the tentative subdivision map based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval included in the staff report, the late material, and testimony on the record today.
And comment on the motion, please.
Wait, may I have a second first, and then I'll be happy to do that?
I second.
Okay, on discussion, Supervisor White?
Thank you. I think it's probably obvious that I have not been convinced today that this project should move forward. Most specifically, on the tentative map, findings 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 11, I cannot make those findings. On the special use permit, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, I cannot make those findings. On the supplemental findings, A and C, I cannot make those findings. Additionally, I did read the comments about what makes for commercial viability, and frankly, I can't make that finding. I don't know what's going on there, but additionally, this board recently had quite a long discussion about a road we were discussing, whether it should be private or public. One of the opinions that came out of that discussion was we should not put publicly owned infrastructure under privately owned asphalt. And on page 15, this project calls for just that. And so for those reasons, I cannot support this project.
All right. and
We
sorry.
have to be consistent or we're going to get sued again for being arbitrary and capricious.
Thank you. Okay, on the motion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no.
No.
Let the record reflect it was 4 yeses, 1 no by Supervisor White. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to take a brief recess. We'll be back about 1:15. Does that work? And then we'll queue up 14. bring the Board of Supervisors back to order. We're on agenda item 14A. And if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and open 14A and 14B because they're both grant applications for approval. Would you just give us the very high level of what you expect to achieve on these two grants?
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. For the record, Greg Bergeron, Trails Coordinator, so we'll keep it very short. Let me, oh yeah, right there. So this project for the Ambrose Carson River Outdoor Classroom and Trailhead refers to the Ambrose Carson River Natural Area, which is the area between, it's the open space between the east side of the Carson River and Deer Run Road. And the concept of an outdoor classroom here was first envisioned in 2012, and the original site development included construction of wide access road designed to accommodate school buses. And so the site is well suited for students for a variety of reasons. It's got sweeping views of the Carson River to help with lessons about floodplains. There's an oxbow there to help support discussions of fluvial actions of how rivers meander and move and change over time. It's separated from busy roads. And so we proposed, originally in 2012, a Carson High School teacher with students developed the Carson High School biology trail, but unfortunately that was wiped out by flooding. And so our project is proposed to be well above the floodplain. And the amenities would include ADA accessible vault toilet, shade structure, 2 ADA accessible parking spaces, ADA foundation connecting the amenities, 150-foot accessible pathway, 3 interpretive panels on the pathway, and a kiosk for changeable content. And so the top photos kind of show what we have now, which is a portable toilet and a kind of an empty parking lot. And what we'd like to have is something much more aesthetically pleasing and much more usable, which would be permanent structures, as seen in the photos below with the 5th Street Trailhead. We have lots of support, community-wide, Sheriff's Office, Visit Carson City, the Carson City School District. And in last year, when the Carson River Master Plan Survey was conducted, residents chose Ambrose as their top candidate for needing amenities along the Carson River. And this project addresses the amenities that people were looking for, including facilities, trails and trailheads, educational interpretive signage, safety, and a cleaner environment. So that is the kind of a synopsis of that project. Last year, we applied for a grant for this, and we weren't successful, but the Recreational Trails Program staff encouraged us to apply again. And then, would you just let me to go on to the other one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's get out of here. Where's my, come on. So I'm trying to do, oh, there we go, X out, Centennial. Okay, the Centennial Regional Trails Project. So this is a rather ambitious project. Oh, shoot, how would we do? There we go. Oh, no, shoot. Yeah, just working with the slideshow. So anyway, this was first proposed by Muscle Powered in 2015, and it envisions a regional system of trails, 22 miles of non-motorized trails connecting Centennial Park in Carson City with Washoe Lake State Park, McClellan Peak, Washoe County, and other points. It was included in the Eagle Valley Trails Committee report in 2017. It's in our Unified Pathways Master Plan. Formal proposal was presented to the BLM in 2020, and the plan was also included in the Truckee Meadows Trails Plan last year. And partners include Muscle Powered, Carson City, the BLM, the Nevada Division of State Parks, and Washoe County. And the BLM, on their behalf, they have conducted public scoping, and they are currently working on the NEPA studies and the Section 106 historical resource clearances. And they anticipate having those complete by the end of the year, or they did. I realize that now with the shutdown, that may be delayed a bit, but that should be forthcoming soon. So just a little bit about the project. This Centennial Park is right here, and the red shows some existing trails, and our project would continue or extend the existing trails. This green line here is the proposed 3 miles that would connect to Gonai Road. And then as an interim connection, we would use existing roads and trails to connect to Washoe Lake State Park. And future connections would go up here to McClellan Peak and other points. I know Supervisor White had asked earlier about the relationship with this project to a potential bike park. The conceptual bike park would be down in this area, just above Centennial, and so the two projects would essentially complement each other. I also want to mention that QA, or quality of life funding, has provided match previously for projects that are on non-city lands. For example, the Capitol Tahoe Trail, a very successful project on U.S. Forest Service lands, which Visit Carson City markets. And like, for example, with their Capital to Canada challenge, and Visit Carson City supports this project for the same reasons as well. So with that, I will take questions on either of those projects.
I don't see, they're just both wonderful projects, and I hope we get winners. I don't see anyone with any other questions, so I'll
A quick
certainly.
statement, just as our rep on Visit Carson City, or CTA, we because of that, I mentioned earlier, our quality of life, ballot question that continues to put these things together. Just kudos to you guys for continuing to look for opportunities to expand outdoor recreation for our citizens and visitors. And we really are known for, across the state, for what we did with what you did and our predecessors did, the forethought they had to tax ourselves to create open space and trails and utilize the open space that God has given us, in a way that respects both the land and the citizens that live here, to be able to use it in a fantastic way. So I can't thank you guys enough for continuing to bring these forward. Every one of these adds to and builds on our reputation. So thank you.
Is there any public comment on agenda item 14A or 14B? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back up here. Supervisor Jomey, or Shooty, you think you have the computer is ready? Go.
Thank you. I have to, yes.
Yeah, practice.
I move to authorize submittal of both grant applications as presented, and authorize the director to accept the grant and sign all necessary documents if awarded.
I have a motion and a second for approval of both agenda item 14A and 14B. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Let the record reflect it was unanimous. Go forth and get them. Oh, not that command will work, right? Yeah, good luck. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to our non-action items then. Does our city manager have an update to share with us, Mr. Martell?
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. Just real quick, a couple of notes. First and foremost, at the end of the month here, we have a great opportunity, again, kind of celebrate the change in weather and Nevada history and some good stuff here in the city. So just to remind residents and those that might be visiting on October 30th, that Thursday, Carson City will be hosting our Bonanza right adjacent to us here at Mills Park. So a great evening for family fun to come out and enjoy the hopefully great fall weather. And then secondly, right after that, on Friday the 31st, there'll be trick-or-treating here in Carson City. And then wrapping up the last 3 days of that week, of course, will be the annual Nevada Day Parade right downtown Carson City on November 1st this year. So because of the November 1st date, just want to make sure everybody understood how that might flow. So if you could please come down and enjoy all or some of those events, that'd be a great weekend for us. Also wanted to bring to everybody's attention, in case you haven't seen it, Sonoma Park is undergoing some special treatment this fall. Usually they shut it down once a year and kind of reseed and refresh, and this year they're doing an extra one. So if you drive by, I'd like to thank our utility department and our Parks and Recreation department for a little partnership over there. They're doing a little, not major, but some more moderate type repairs this year and some new sidewalks over their site. So they're be open in another week or so, but please go by and see what's going on over there. And then lastly, some good news. The city just did receive its 4-year review from the State State Historical and Preservation Office, SHPO. We are one of only 4 cities in the state that have been recognized that we have I'll quote it here, that we continue to successfully meet the requirements of the handbook, and thank you for your partnership with SHPO. So I would again like to thank our Historic Commission here in Carson City. I think that does a great job, our Planning Department, Planning Commission, and all the residents that are involved with keeping our historic part of town operational. And as Supervisor Giomi mentioned, I think also a great idea for drawing some of our visitors that come into town. So those are my 3 updates for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just want to piggyback on the Nevada Day Parade on November 1st at 1 p.m. To 3 p.m. Stop by the Toyota dealership. The Nevada Christmas tree that will go to the Capitol will be at Toyota, the red fir, the 55-footer. The tree will be there in a huge celebration with all of the ornaments. We were supposed to do 10,000. We did over 20,000 ornaments. And Stacy, while I'm at it, does NACO have the tree skirt done?
Yes, tree skirt is done.
Do we have
So,
pictures?
I don't have pictures,
Oh,
unfortunately. So I
epic
will get those
fail.
from, I will get those.
That would be
In
great,
fact, I'll
'cause
see if,
Can we display it there?
I don't
That's
know,
what
I'll
my
have to
question was.
ask. That's a good point, because we had to have it to the Forest Service, and if the tree is there, I don't know why we couldn't. I will ask. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would
I
be
have a
wonderful if we
meeting.
could display that.
I'm serving on a committee for they call them whistle stops. I want to call it something else. But anyway, I would love it if we could add that. So if you could let me know before Monday, that would be fantastic, because we'll put it in the announcement
Yeah,
to come
I'll
see
ask.
the tree
Yes,
skirt.
perfect.
Pretty fantastic. But come and enjoy that too. Pretty neat. And then Supervisor Giomi, do you have something
Yeah,
to
just,
share?
I think you'll notice that our walls are barren. I don't think anyone beyond Sharon fully appreciated the amount of work she did to coordinate that and beautify this room. I worked with Spike and Mr. Brooks from CTA, Spike from BAC, and I don't know that we're going to be able to duplicate that, but I am working with them. I have an idea. If you guys will give me a little bit of grace, give me a little bit of time, leave the walls barren. I kind of want to surprise you with an idea I have. So if you'll give me a little bit of grace and time to explore that a bit, I'll come back with an idea and we'll see if we can make it look a little less barren.
We have faith in you.
Okay.
We're putting all of our hopes and dreams, and aspirations on
Okay,
your
I have
shoulders.
broad shoulders. I'm
Yeah,
ready.
there you go. Okay, does anyone else have anything? I don't see anything. Okay, then we are going to move to final public comment for the day. Do I have any final public comment? We did receive yours in writing that we've all had a chance to read. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors and Mayor. For the record, Edward Choklik with the St. Vincent de Paul Society. And the reason we wrote the letter is last week, the announcement for the 2025-2026 CSD grants came out, and 4 categories were named. And we are requesting that a category be added for homelessness/eviction prevention. In the letter and the backup, we've been blessed to receive funding from the city, almost $150,000 for eviction prevention over the years. And the way we see that working is, if you imagine a bathtub with a faucet and the drain. So we're always going to have homeless people coming out of that faucet, whether they come from outside of the community or within the community. And then also we're going to have folks that fall out of that pool by your programs, our programs, other nonprofit programs. So we always see ourselves as working at that tap. If I can prevent an eviction from happening, I could stop a family from becoming homeless and getting into that cycle of homelessness, which we know costs the city and us as taxpayers money. So we're asking that the homelessness prevention or eviction prevention category be added to this year's 2025-2026 CSSG program. Letters of intent are due Monday afternoon. So I don't know if there's enough time to take proper action on this, but the other thing, once again, with the mayor's housing plan that we've been involved with, once again, we see ourselves a vital part of that. In town, it's really us, the city, and Nevada Rural Housing Authority that provide eviction prevention services. And in the letter explains that, unfortunately, with the city and Nevada Rural Housing Authority, a lot of times your hands are tied about who you can and cannot help. And for example, you guys cannot help anybody in subsidized housing. Nevada Rural Housing Authority insists that they be residents for 2 years before they can get help. Also, all the studio and efficiency apartments that don't have kitchen sinks, federal funds that you guys receive and Nevada Rural Housing Authority receive cannot be used for those. I will share this, since Sierra Flats has opened, we've probably helped about 20 people either with security deposits, first month's rent, or rent to either get in there or stay in there. So we're committed to homelessness prevention at the national level, and I'm hoping we could continue our partnership and goodwill and continue to receive funding from the city to help with this issue. I'll open it up for questions.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, we don't have an agendized item, so we can't really do that, Ed, but just for informational purposes, what we, Supervisor Schutte and I have been serving on a committee and having meetings and looking for gaps in service and redefining how we're going to do CSSG. The services that you are discussing here, you have been providing for some time, but I think our intention is to create a pot of money in our social service area that they can provide that service. Currently, you are correct. We are only using federal grants that have a ton of conditions. So you're correct about that, but we can generate welfare funds to our office. And that way, when the client comes in, they'll be able to solve the client instead of saying, I have to refer you to someone else because I only have these 2 grant programs. So just letting you know, I don't think our intention is to eliminate the ability to help those in need. It's potentially to redirect for a single stop in an office and get them help then and there instead of having to refer them to a different location.
Thank you for your time this morning.
Absolutely. So thank you. And I don't see any other public to ask if there's any more public comment, but just legally for the record. Oh, be careful. Okay, with that, if there's no objection then, we are adjourned, and thanks for a good meeting.